Hello, geometry class. This is Mr. Adams. The purpose of this video is to show you how you are going to construct a parallelogram in DESMOS for the Rule of 4 Parallelograms assignment that is due on Tuesday, December 15th. So you access this by going to the folder for Tuesday, December 15th, and you click on the DESMOS link. As always, you sign in through BCPS if you can. If not, you click continue without signing in, type your name in. These 5 rules are the rules that we went over on Monday for the 5 properties of a parallelogram. You are going to show through graphs, numbers, words, and symbols that a shape that you construct is in fact a parallelogram. This assignment will be worth 10 points, 2 points per slide. So if you do not do one part of this, it's going to be very hard for you to score well. And if you don't do this first slide, it's going to be hard for you to score anything above an LS. So let's get started. So you go down to the bottom where it says construct. And you need to start with, you have 2 choices. You can either start with 2 adjacent sides, or you can start with a side and a point. So if you start with a side and a point, then you go to more tools afterwards. You go to parallel line. You'll click your first side. You'll click your point. And now you have 2 parallel sides. If you were to move the first segment, the parallel line will move with it. Then you construct a segment here. That is your second side. Then you go to more tools again, create a parallel side. Now you have your 4 sides. However, you don't have a point down here. So instead, let's use the segment tool to make sure that we have 4 segments. That way we can measure everything. So at this point, you can choose. If you want to use the last rule and talk about the diagonals, then you're going to want to draw in the diagonals, of course. You do that like this. Where they intersect, you would want to mark it with a point. And if you want to measure each half of the diagonal, then you would need to construct segments like I'm doing here. Construct these short segments that go from vertex to where the diagonals cross. That way you could measure these short segments. So that's the whole thing. Sorry about that. But if you go ahead and you construct a segment over top of it, you should be able to highlight just this segment and then measure that instead. Okay, so if you did that to all 4 segments, you would be able to prove that the diagonals bisect each other. If instead you wanted, so why don't I start over real quick just so you can see all the steps again and your other choice as well. So you can also construct using 2 adjacent sides. So start with those 2 sides, and then you're going to go to more tools, parallel line, doesn't matter which segment you start with. But now you have your parallelogram. You just should finish it by drawing in these segments. And if you were to use the select tool and move around any of your points, the whole parallelogram would move as well. So if you want to measure opposite sides, then you would want to click on the segment, click label, and do that for all 4 sides. I'm only doing 2 of them for now, but you can do that to all 4 sides to measure all of them. If you wanted to instead measure the angles, you would use this angle tool. You should be able to do that for all 4 angles. Okay, and then any of these will help you be able, once you have your parallelogram and either all of the angles labeled, or all the sides labeled, or the diagonals constructed and then their lengths labeled, then you can go ahead and complete the next 3 slides. Here, you're going to fill out, you can choose between the opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, and then fill in like segment AB and type in its length, segment AC, type in its length, or you could do angles and you could explain the angle measurements there. Here you'll write 1 to 3 sentences explaining why, and here you'll do